All right, hello. Sorry, I was having difficulty with the computer. I had to log off and log back in. So, all right, everybody. Hello, hello. Give the usual couple minutes before we get started. Sorry, I look like it seems like everything's a little jittery today for some reason. I don't know if I'm having a bad connection. If I am, sorry. Let's see here. I'm going to put out a couple of notices. Hey, Mason, first one in. What's going on, Mason? Did you tell the family? Or are you just sneaking in here? Does it look real jumpy, Mason? Like my connection? Just realized like my computer is sitting at a weird angle. There we go. So my videos, I'm like at a slant like this. Probably the last who knows how many. Look like I'm leaning to one side. Hey, Chris, what is happening? Thanks again for the my little thumbnail, Chris, for taking care of that for me. And cheers. Justin, going on? Oh, there, I got both the brothers. Man, hold on a second. Grab something here. Okay. That's not what I wanted. Hold on. There we go. All right. I think that's what I want. Okay. Sweet. Cheers. There you go. Are you still trying to hang that mirror, Chris? All right. Give it a couple more minutes and we'll get started. Oh, okay. I don't know if y'all have this down there. It's called Blake's Hard Cider. It's pretty good. They have a mango habanero that's pretty awesome. This one's strawberry lemonade is pretty good. Of course, I'm getting update information in the middle of my freaking thing. That's all right. As long as you stay logged in. You know, hospitals, if you have to go to the hospital, you can do that later. I know. So, all right, we'll give it another minute and we will get started. Amanda, hey, Amanda, sorry. I don't know how I missed you in that. Thanks for helping me today. Today was fun with the lure coursing and everything. I think I'm going to try to go and scope out a couple places for the weekend here in the next day or so. So I can see what's out there and try to set this thing up better. Daphne's wore out, huh? She was running hard. All right. So before we really get started real quick. So those of you who did order shirts or possibly interested in ordering shirts, I got the ones that were ordered in. I can also order more. But these right now, this is what they look like at the moment. If I can see, there we go. I don't know how we all can see them, but that's it. It's green. And then this is the lettering on the back. If I can see myself, there we go. And then just for everybody who's wondering, there is the flag on the sleeve. So if you ordered one, they're in. If you want one, message me and I will make another order at some point in time. And I'll make a new order. It's, here in the next, if I can get a few of them together, I'll make another order and then I can get them taken care of. If you are out of town, let me know when you want one. As long as I'll figure out what shipping is and we'll go from there. So they're only $13 for the short sleeve shirts. So right now I'm just doing the black color shirt. If I can get some grays, I may do it in gray as well. So, but it all still would be with the green color here. There we go. So, all right. So we will get started. Today's topic is fireworks. A lot of dogs have issues with fireworks. We're coming up. I wish, thanks to Dana, she's the one that came up with this one. I wish I had thought about it myself sooner, because some of this stuff actually is a building upon situation. So from here forward, you could start trying to work on it for New Year's, and then for next 4th of July even as well. So one of the things you need to consider is, do loud noises in general bother your dog? Like just any kind of loud noise? Are they freaked out by it? If so, then you may be, some of this stuff could be a more serious situation, because even if something as simple as like dropping a dog food bowl on the ground and it going bang, 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 and your dog's like, holy shit, and it takes off running, then some of this stuff you could try, but it may, your dog may be on some of the suggestions on that I get to for when I'm talking about like desensitization and stuff like that. So another thing you need to consider is a genetic, and some of that could be the simple part about dropping and boom. And I've talked about genetics in past videos and stuff like that, so you can always go back and look at those. If I remember, I'll try to tag those and put them in the description as well. So and then you also got to remember, dogs don't understand fireworks. And that they don't happen very often, like once or twice a year, they start really booming. There may be a couple people here and there popping them off, but really just the time leading up, and then 4th of July, it goes heavy. And then New Year's, you might get them. Other than that, they don't see them or hear them, I guess you could say. So there's a change in the atmospheric pressure. There is all this loud banging, booming, flashes in the sky. They can't understand that stuff. They don't know what's going on. So we have to remember that this doesn't, shoot, there's times when I'm sure people have probably been sitting there and something goes boom, a firework or something blows up next to you and you weren't expecting it. It scares the shit out of you as well. So just imagine how the dogs feel, because they can't even rationalize what's happening. They don't understand it. So keep that in mind. Shit, that'd be probably almost similar to like a bomb going off next to you. It just gets the hell out of you. So, also you have to remember too that dogs hear at different frequencies than we do. So who knows what and how it affects them, to compared to us. We hear loud booms and we hear the phew through the air. There's a possibility they hear it even more. Knowing that, but their ears are so much more sensitive than ours that that it could be really what we consider to be, that's kind of loud or whatever. It could be really bad for them. So keep that in mind as well, that dogs hear different than we do. Their hearing is better. So, all right. It was just a quick little thing there. Has anybody got any questions about what's going on so far? I know I always say I have a small list, but then my small list ends up turning into like 30, 45 minutes. So, but anybody have any questions before I move on? There you go. Just pull it out and start popping rounds around the puppy dogs. Make sure they're really, really close to you when you do it, Mason. And that'll learn them. They'll learn real quick to to not worry about it. All right, so here's some things that you can do for your dog to help them out, during this time. Crating. Our dog Freya, she's scared of a lot of things. When 4th of July kicks, a lot of times she just to be up in her crate. You know what? That's fine. I'll let her go there. We'll put her up. Maybe even mix it with some background noise, some music or TV. And as time has gone on too, some of these things I've actually, as I thought about this a little bit more, my idea of things have changed a little bit. So some of the stuff that I used to think here and even a year ago, I'm kind of thinking a little bit differently on it, which is, that's how things progress, hopefully, and change. So, but yeah, you could use, like I said, you can let them crate them up, put them in a crate and let them go in there. If there's a possibility they might want to chew on a bone while in there, give them something to do. If not, like I said, give them a nice quiet place where they feel safe. Put on a little music, some TV, something as a background noise to try to help deaden the sound. They make these things called thunder shirts. They go tightly around the dogs. The concept is kind of like the swaddling of the babies and stuff like that. It's supposed to help calm them. I have never personally used one on any of my dogs, but I've heard some people have success with those. CBD oils and pheromones. Some people have good success with those. We tried that with our dog Freya. It's just whether it's been going too long or the genetic, it's just so ingrained in her and so bad that CBD and pheromones don't help her. She just can't think. So that was not something for her that worked for her. Have you used thunder shirts, Amanda? Because I personally don't know anybody else has used them, so I don't know. So another thing would be like food and play. If your dog likes food a lot, you could always not feed breakfast or even not feed dinner the night before that the fireworks going to happen, and see if they will take the food or play with you with a toy. So every time you might even hear it going up in there. Phew! If you can hear it going, throw some food on the ground, bam, and that way they might try to eat it. Even if the big boom happens and they're like, holy shit, but then they go back and start eating it, then there's still a positive to the situation. Because just being scared initially, if they go back to eat, then the stress isn't so high, if they're still eating. So try something like that. Or if they'll play with you, play tug of war, throw a ball, something like that. Just start tossing a ball for them, and possibly in the house, not so much outside, just because outside it's even worse. They'd probably feel a lot safer in the house. See if food and playing will help out. Like I said, if it doesn't, then always, you could always go back to the crate. One of the things that I've kind of changed my thought process on, your shirts are thunder shirts. Well, that's what happens, when you work out all the time and then you buy extra small baby shirts. They fit that way. Amanda says, yes, I use it on Beetle. You have to use it before stuff happens so they're accustomed to it and not just put it on when it happens. When Beetle gets nervous at night, I put it on her. Oh, I didn't know that. So apparently, according to what Amanda says, is you need to get your dog accustomed to it. So start having your dog wear it to get used to it, and then try to put it on before the bad things happen. So, and I probably guess the idea behind it is not signaling bad things are happening. So you already got it on, so they already feel better. All right, well, thanks, Amanda. I appreciate it. Like I said, I've never used it, so I don't know. Maybe that's something maybe I could try to. We've tried everything else for Freya. Maybe we try that. It might work, paired with something else. So, but like I said, the one thing, one of the biggest things that I think I've kind of changed my thought process on is calming your pet. So I'm a big firm believer in certain things, like if your dog is afraid of something, but there's nothing to be afraid of, to not coddle them. I do believe that that's a big thing. I think it helps out a lot with certain dogs. If you don't cuddle them, you're not making it worse. And I've talked about this before with fear and things like that. So I won't get too much into it, but I feel like maybe with this situation, if your dog is very scared, and depending on how bad it is, like if it is, I mean, like will chew through the crate, try to eat through a wall, whatever, scared, then coming in and having your dog with you and petting it to try to help calm it, then do it. The only thing that I have to say to that is, unless you want to work on it, like try to desensitize it, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But I do believe if it's that bad in your dog that no matter what you do or what you've done, it's not changing it. The only thing that helps is that your dog, that you're there with it, holding it basically like a little baby and telling it it's okay and reading it bedtime stories to make it feel better, then that's okay. So yeah, like I said, that to me, I look at that a little bit differently now than I used to, even like last year. I felt differently a year ago. But I feel like that it's one of those things where if your dog is so bad that you don't think that anything helps, and that's the only thing that helps, then you do it. Okay, so it's what's best for your dog. All right. Any questions on any of that so far? Comments or anything like that? All right. I'll go ahead and move on. So as another part to this, I'm going to talk to you about like getting something like a narcotic of some kind for your dog, some kind of calming drug. First, I'm not a veterinarian, so I can't give vet advice, but I can give you kind of advice on what to kind of pair it with or do with it. So if you need to go see your vet, you think it's so bad that your dog needs to be on something that has to be prescribed. Shoot, I can't think. Amanda, I know you'll know some of the drugs that they can be prescribed for this. But one of my main things, my suggestions for this is don't use it for the first time on 4th of July. You need to see how your dog reacts on it first, because some dogs don't always react the way that they're supposed to on a prescribed drug. Some dogs can be worse. Not only that, but it'd be like you maybe for the first time, or not even knowing, giving some hallucinogenic drug and you didn't even know you had it, and then you go out and about and you're like, what's going on? And then you're let loose in the middle of a bunch of noises and sounds and lights and stuff. You're not gonna probably have a good time and you're not gonna be able to figure out what's happening. So you need to first test your dog on this stuff and see how they react. Because if just in a plain ordinary everyday you give them something and they're all over the place and freaking out about the simplest things, like drop a pan or make some noise and see how they react. If they're still freaked out and they're going nuts, then you don't want to give that to them on the night that the world is blowing up. So, all right. Okay, thanks, Amanda. Amanda says Trazodone works fast, and now they have Sileo as that Sileo. So I don't know, but Sileo, which I've heard before. So I'll have to check into that myself. But like I said, I'm not a veterinarian, so I'm not going to tell you what you like drug-wise, what you should do. But I do suggest that you see how your dog acts on it first before they're disoriented, and then all this craziness happens. So do you have any suggestions on that, Amanda? Since I know you have your vet tech background and stuff in there. All right. So now I'm going to move on to something else. Now, what I'm moving on to, it's going to take some time to do. So that's kind of why I wish but I'm glad that Dana told me that I suggested this, but I wish I had thought about it at least even a month ago or so to talk about it, because this is something that you can start now for maybe for New Year's and then for next 4th of July. So desensitization. So depending on how bad your dog is, So my mom says Kai goes outside during thunderstorms, barks in the air. He's really freaked out. Yeah, well, thunderstorms kind of the same way. It's a noise they can't explain. It happens every so often. It's loud, and it's also dogs are very sensitive to the atmospheric changes and stuff like that. So the atmospheric pressure changes. So what happens is even before a thunderstorm comes in, if they see enough of them, the atmospheric pressure will change before the storm comes. That's why a lot of dogs start freaking out even before the sun could be out. We don't even know a storm's coming, and the dog can start acting weird. And the next thing you know, it clouds up and there's a big storm. Well, they learn that. So they start kind of preloading for the event. So if a dog starts acting like that, if you are using a drug, then as soon as you realize that they're starting to act weird, which I did a thing in which the stress video that I did can help you out, show signs of stress, because they can start showing signs of stress before this happens. And if so, then, you need to know what you're looking for. So, so Amanda says, I would see your vet. There are so many out there now, and I'm not a huge fan of it. Like I'm not a huge fan of drugging my dog unless I really have to, or it's a last resort kind of thing. But then again, it goes down to the safety of the dog. So, well, thanks, Amanda. So, but desensitizing, depending on how bad your dog is, desensitizing your dog to things, there's possibility it might not work. Your dog could just be sensitive to noises, which a lot of dogs are. They're sensitive to simple noises, and that's just the way it is. Like I said, it's because the hearing is so much different than ours. Or it's genetic, and they're so ingrained in there that they're scared of it and fear that you can't really fight through the fear for them. So with that, I do what I have to do, whether it's crating them for their safety or if I have to sit there and have them lay with me and I just pet them. So like I said, it just depends. But desensitizing, if you got a dog that you want to try it, that you think might make it through, because maybe gunshots don't make a difference. Maybe a thunderstorm doesn't bother them. So maybe there's a possibility that you could try to work on the fireworks. There's a couple of things you can do. First, you can get fireworks sounds. You can there's tons of them on YouTube for desensitizing dogs to fireworks. You could start it off with playing the music really, really low and letting the dogs play around and eat and do other things while it's happening. But what I try to do is I try to get them doing whatever they're like playing or eating first. Then I turn it on. And then before I finish playing or before they finish eating, I turn the music off or I turn the sound off. What you're trying to do is you don't want them to stop and then notice it. So before everything's done. So, and then you build up and you start making it louder and louder and louder and louder and louder over time. If you get really loud, and you might need to back it down if they seem a little scared or stressed, especially if your dog just loves to eat. All our dogs, they eat as if they have never eaten and will never eat again. So if something's going on and they decide they don't want to eat something, then I know their stress level is high. So then I need to back off a little bit if I can. So take note of that. If you got a dog that eats like they're never going to eat again, and you have the sound up and they're not eating, then you may need to bring it down some and play it at that lower level for a little while. So, like I said, and even while that noise is going on, like I said, play is a good one. Go throw a ball for them out in the backyard. Have fun with them and see what happens. So, another thing that you could do, and you're going to need somebody to help you with this, and you're going to have to check your area and all that kind of stuff to make sure it's okay. But my other suggestion is to simply go out and get some little fireworks, little bitty tiny guys, and go off in the distance with your dog with a nice long leash. Make sure the collar's secure so nobody can go anywhere, or harness or whatever. Have somebody take off in a long distance away from you, and y'all get on the phone together, and they light it. And when they light it, before they light it, you're feeding your dog or playing with your dog, and then let it go pop, and see what your dog does while you're doing it. If he looks up and looks around like, holy shit, what was that? But then he turns right back around and starts eating it. Hey, let them do it. Don't say anything. Don't act like anything's happening. Just keep doing what you're doing like normal. Then tell whoever's out there, all right, light another one. Bam, boom, it goes off. He looks around, what? And then goes back to eating or playing. That's great. And you'll do that for a while. And over time, when he stops looking like he doesn't care about it, then that person will scoot in a little bit. And you'll do the same thing. They scoot in a little bit more. They scoot in a little bit more until eventually they should be hopefully be pretty close. You could do the same thing with possibly little with the little whistling bottle rockets because they make that high-pitched sound. Well, have somebody go way off in the distance, and see what happens. And light one up and see what they do, and then do the exact same process. Because you got to remember, a lot of times it may not even be so much the thing that a firework went off or this thing went shooting in there and went boom and everything. It's just that it's a continuous boom, 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 boom. And it's almost like it's never going to stop. So it's kind of barraging them with the sounds and the lights in the sky and everything else. So like I said, the nice thing about this is in a controlled environment. So if somebody gets a little too close, you can have them back off and you can stay at that area for a little bit and you can see how it works. So that's something that you can try, and it may help out. Anybody got any questions or anything? And while I'm waiting to see if anybody's got questions or comments, I just want to thank everybody, like always, for tuning in on Wednesday. Be here every Wednesday at 6. If you wouldn't mind, please hit the like button, subscribe, share, so I can get more information out to everybody. If you have any questions or if you have any topics you would like me to cover, please put them in the comments below, and I will either answer your questions and I will try to cover your topic as well. So. Any questions for anybody, from anyone? Give it a second here. All right. One other thing. I almost forgot. Try to wear your dog out. Take your dog out to exercise. Throw the heck out of a toy. Do something, go for a really long extra walk, like work the crud out of them, but try to do it earlier in the day before the fireworks happen. That may help as well because then they may be a little wore out. So try to exercise them. Even try to mentally exercise them. Sometimes even just doing some work where they have to work their brain can also help them out as well. So try to wear them out mentally and physically too. All right. So one last thing is for safety of your dog. One, make sure your dog always has make sure you have a good collar on your dog with the ID. Even if they're chipped, make sure they have an ID on them because sometimes chips travel or places don't have chip readers, even still to this day. So make sure that they have some identification where if they do somehow get away, they're able to make it home. Another thing too is, don't leave them in the backyard, even if they're tied up, or even if you have a 6-foot fence, and everything else with barbed wire at the top, like you're trying to keep out keep convicts in. If a dog is freaked out enough, they will hurt themselves to get away. So make sure that you don't leave them in the yard. Because 4th of July is, you'll hear everybody who talks about this kind of stuff. 4th of July is the worst year for dogs getting lost and not being found again because they will run and run and run and run and run. Because why? Because for the next hour or two, the world is coming to an end for them. Another thing a lot of people don't think about is make sure your doors are closed well and make sure your windows are closed. And I don't mean just screen, I mean close your window. Their dogs do leap out windows and push through storm doors during this time of the year. That's funny, Mom. So Mom says she can't keep a collar on Kai because Dakota eats it. So, well, then you may have that one. You take Kai's collar and soak it in like bitter apple or something that tastes really bad, and that might help. So, but yeah, like I said, a lot of dogs will push through storm doors or even punch out screens. Some dogs have even left out of windows, 2-3 story windows, because the window's open and they don't even think about it, because like I've talked about before, fear. If you think about it, if somebody is truly fearful for their lives, they may not think properly, even as a person. So think about an animal. An animal is just going to react out of instinct. And if it needs to get away, it's going to do whatever it can to get away. So that's all I got today. Anybody got any questions on anything? Like I said, if you got any topics you'd like me to cover, please let me know, because I'd rather talk about something that y'all are interested in than something that I just kind of pull out of the air. I'd rather kind of makes it more interesting and more fun for y'all if it's a topic that you have. So, all right, give it another couple minutes or a minute or so here. See if anybody's got anything to add. I know sometimes it takes a second to get through. Like I said, please remember, hit that like button. Subscribe if you'd like to hear more and get more content from me. So it helps me out a lot. And please share it as well. Mom says it's an important topic in my whole household. Yeah. Well, like I said, if it's so bad that or you don't want to, or you've tried giving Kai stuff to help, help calm Kai down. If you can't crate Kai because Kai tears up the crate even, or might hurt, get hurt in there, then, cuddle away then. So, but like I said, if you feel like you might want to try to work on desensitizing, then maybe not cuddle this time around, because if you start cuddling now and you make it something, then you may have a hard time reversing that. So like I said, so if you think you might want to try to desensitize, then just kind of crate them or do whatever you got to do to make it calm or help them out. And then after the 4th of July and everything's done, then start trying to work on desensitization, whether you start getting firework noises and working, or you can get some fireworks from a distance away, making loud noises and having them work through that as well. So, Amanda says, consider bovine colostrum for fear. She really likes it. Well, thanks, Amanda. I appreciate that. So, that's a good thing to think about. So, all right, everybody. Well, I believe that is it. Thanks again for coming in and watching, and hanging out with me for a little while. If like I said, if you have any question, anything at all, please leave them below in the comments, and I'll get back with you. Other than that, I will see you next Wednesday at 6 o'clock like always, and everybody have a great night. Thanks a lot.